Just when America's favorite sheriff Andy Griffith was about to return to TV, fate dealt him a vicious blow that he'd never recover from. His hit shows like The Andy Griffith Show and Matlock proved both his comedic and dramatic chops. Unfortunately, he never got the credit he deserved until it was already too late. Growing up in Mount Airy, North Carolina, his parents were so poor that they had him live with relatives at first. As he grew older, he found comfort and escape from his blue-collar upbringing by listening to music. Before long, he discovered his true talent. The budding actor learned that he had a knack for getting his classmates to laugh. He just needed a stage to showcase his talents. Throughout high school, Griffith threw himself into the arts, enrolling in the drama program and deepening his love of music. After graduating from high school in 1944, he found himself at the University of North Carolina. At first, he pursued theology in the hopes of becoming a Moravian preacher. However, it didn't take long for his true passion to take over, and he graduated with a degree in music instead. In fact, he'd become part of one of the most exclusive music groups in the country. He led the university's chapter of Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia, a prestigious music fraternity. He also played starring roles in student operettas like The Mercado, The Gondoliers, and HMS Pinafore. After graduating, he spent some time teaching the next generation of entertainers at Goldsboro High School in North Carolina, and it seemed like Griffith had given up on his dream of becoming an entertainer himself. In 1949, long before he shot to fame, Griffith was settling into a quiet family life. He married Barbara Bray Edwards, and together they adopted 2 children. Griffith's breakout hit wasn't, in fact, on screen, it was on vinyl. In 1953, he released What It Was Football, a comic monologue about a clueless and naive preacher trying to understand a football game. The seemingly semi-autobiographical skit made it all the way to number 9 on the charts and introduced the name Andy Griffith to millions of fans. In 1955, he starred in No Time for Sergeant on TV and then took it to Broadway. Being a country boy navigating life in the Air Force, Griffith earned rave reviews for his comedic timing and charm. He was such a hit with audiences and critics alike that he barely had to say a word on stage. As the New York Times put it, he just had to walk on the stage and look the audience straight in the face. Unfortunately, not everyone agreed. The role earned him a Tony nomination in 1956, but he lost the award to Ed Begley, beginning a trend that would always see him finishing a second best. Still, he managed to take home a decent consolation prize, the Theatre World Award for Outstanding Broadway Debut. It was another debut, however, that would truly catapult him to fame. When director Elia Kazan was trying to cast the lead in his highly anticipated film, A Face in the Crowd, he knew he had found his star when he spotted Griffith. Griffith's debut film role as Larry Lonesome Rhodes pushed him outside of his comfort zone. The morally ambiguous, highly explosive character was everything that Griffith was not. When he revived his No Time for Sergeant character, Will Stockdale, for the big screen in 1958, it marked the 3rd time that he played the character in 3 different media. But for the film, he had something he had never had before, a best friend. The film teamed Griffith up with Don Knotts, sparking one of the most influential friendships and comedy partnerships in entertainment history. In 1959, Griffith saddled up for Destry Rides Again. Following his starring role in No Time for Sergeant, it marked just his 2nd Broadway role and his last. Starring alongside Dolores Gray, he played the title character in the musical and once again dazzled audiences. But when it came time for the Tony Awards, he once again came up short, losing to Jackie Gleason. With 2 major film successes and a few Broadway hits to his name, Griffith signed on to 1958's Onion Head with high hopes. But instead of propelling his career forward, it nearly ended it. Onion Head turned out to be such a commercial and critical disaster that Griffith decided to walk away from film altogether. Following his departure from the big screen, he returned to TV and landed a role as a small-town sheriff in an episode of Make Room for Daddy. Next to his versatile acting chops, the small-town role had big-time potential. Unbeknownst to viewers at the time, the episode would serve as a backdoor pilot for Griffith's career-defining TV show. For the 249 episodes of The Andy Griffith Show, Griffith portrayed the ever-patient straight man, Sheriff Andy Taylor. At the outset, Griffith believed that he would be the show's primary source of humor. However, after just a few episodes, he couldn't deny that his best friend Don Knotts was the real comic relief to his straight man act. Unfortunately, Griffith had convinced Knotts that the show would only run for 5 seasons, so when Knotts signed a deal with another studio, he had to let him go. Despite being the heart of the show, Griffith could only watch as his co-stars raked in the awards. His co-stars Don Knotts and Frances Bavier walked away from the series with awards for their troubles. Griffith, however, never even received an Emmy nomination for his work. By 1967, Griffith had had enough of the fictional town of Mayberry. Even though CBS wanted another season, he declined to seek out new opportunities in film. And so he remained part of the series, helping to executive produce the altered storyline. He did, however, make a few guest appearances. After leaving The Andy Griffith Show, Griffith struggled to find another hit. He launched a production company in 1972 and starred in a string of short-lived series like Headmaster, The New Andy Griffith Show, and Salvage One. None of them managed to recapture the Mayberry magic that had made him a household name. In the early 70s, after his marriage ended in divorce, Griffith found love again. This time, he cozied up to Salika Kusuto, a Greek actress. The couple tied the knot in 1973 and remained together until 1981. After years away from the big screen, Griffith decided to make his triumphant return with a multi-movie deal with Universal Studios. Angel in My Pocket was supposed to be the first of several films under his new contract, but when he saw the final cut, he disliked the film so much that he refused to honor the rest of the deal. He returned to TV with the short-lived Adams of Eagle Lake, but almost as soon as the cameras started rolling, Griffith and the network clashed. Network executives wanted car chases and explosive action, while Griffith wanted quiet, thoughtful storytelling. After just 2 episodes filmed in Griffith's style, he pulled the plug on the project. When he stepped into the role of a sharp attorney in the 1984 miniseries Fatal Vision, he had no idea that he just landed on his next career-defining role. The network executives took notice of his performance. For exclusive perks like early access to new videos, priority replies to your comments, and to have your say on future content, consider becoming a FactorNet member. On top of that, your support helps keep the channel going. Click the link in the description for more details. In 1983, just as he was about to make his comeback, Griffith fell victim to a rare and potentially fatal illness. Doctors diagnosed him with Guillain-Barré syndrome, a disorder that left him temporarily paralyzed from the knees down. He was unable to walk for 7 months, but he was about to waltz into the role of a lifetime. After 7 months of recovery, Griffith made a triumphant return to television. He took on the role of Ben Matlock in the legal drama Matlock, which aired from 1986 to 1995. Matlock was an unusually physical role for Griffith. His character had a habit of cornering culprits on the stand, and Griffith delivered these big courtroom moments like a true TV titan. Despite still recovering from partial leg paralysis, he spent hours standing in knee braces delivering his dramatic gotcha monologues with poise and power. But he couldn't do it for long. Griffith's signature Matlock courtroom takedowns weren't easy, but he made them look effortless. He carried notes and spent his weekends rehearsing the long speeches so that when the cameras rolled, he rarely missed. According to co-star Nancy Stafford, Griffith usually nailed the monologue in a single take, earning him applause from the entire crew. Matlock was a huge hit with audiences, but despite playing the role for nearly a decade, Griffith wasn't initially sold on the part. In fact, he didn't like the character at all. He found his vanity and cheapness off-putting, but like many of his fans, he grew to love the curmudgeonly Southern lawyer, quirks and all. Griffith sometimes clashed with Matlock producer Dean Hargrove over the direction of the show. The veteran TV star wanted to push his character's arc into darker, more realistic territory. Hargrove, on the other hand, wanted to keep Matlock likable. Ultimately, the two struck a compromise that allowed Griffith to exercise his dramatic chops without altering the show's core mystery plotlines. During Matlock's run on NBC, Griffith put in the miles. He commuted weekly between California and North Carolina, where he lived with his family. For 6 years, he'd hop a plane after rapping, filming on Friday, and be back on set by Andy, an exhausting routine he maintained until 1992. Worse yet for Griffith, the new NBC brass was looking to shake off shows with what they deemed to be an older appeal. Without much consultation, the executives decided to pull the plug. However, instead of wallowing, Griffith saw an opportunity. He wasn't ready to hang up his Matlock seersucker suit quite yet. After NBC canceled the show, Griffith helped broker a deal to move Matlock to ABC. He even came up with a clever idea to shoot in North Carolina to cut costs and save him flying home on weekends. Griffith's idea saw the show run for another 3 seasons, sending Matlock off in style. In 1983, he married Cindy Knight, an actress he met while she was performing in The Lost Colony, a play he'd once starred in himself. The third time really did seem to be the charm for Griffith, as he remained married to Knight for the rest of his life. While Griffith became famous for playing lawmen and lawyers, he never strayed far from his first love, music. Over the years, he released gospel and country albums, including I Love to Tell the Story, 25 Timeless Hymns. The 1996 record struck a chord with fans, went platinum, and even netted him something that his acting career never did, an award. Griffith hadn't just made a career of playing strong characters, he was one. So in 2000, when he underwent quadruple bypass surgery, he bounced back to health. However, 7 years later, he fractured his hip in a fall. But the real blow came in 2012 when he suffered a heart attack. The next day, the legendary TV star who had made millions feel at home passed away quietly. When he died at the age of 86, the world mourned one of the greatest TV stars of all time. But there was no star-studded send-off. Honoring his wishes, his family held no public funeral. Within just 5 hours of his death, he was buried on Roanoke Island. It was an unpretentious and understated farewell for TV's most underappreciated star. If you enjoyed this Factinate video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more incredible stories. If you want to see who we cover next, join our membership program through the link in the description for exclusive perks. Your support means everything to us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.